it's just an excellent way to connect with the community. I think more and more as our service and a lot of police services progress into social media, I think it's kind of key to giving, everyday people an idea of what we're actually doing.
Is this an assignment for being in the traffic unit that you're expected to tweet, or is that something that comes just from you?
No, what it was that our superintendent at the time was looking to expand kind of our social media roster. We had our primary account, we had I think a recruiting account, we had a few other ones, and his kind of idea was, well, we kind of need to give the public an overall view of all the different areas within our service. And I know traffic kind of being a perpetual hot button for the public about, everybody's got a complaint about speeding or cell phones or drinking and driving. Like, it's a very well-known topic of discussion for everybody. So for me, it was just the opportunity to be somebody who has the opportunity to be very, very vocal and be very proactive in letting people know what we're all about and what we're doing.
You're quite candid in your tweets.
Yes.
At times a little cheeky. Where does that come from?
I think it just comes from the fact that, typically, depending on how people are on social media, there's no responsibility. I can log in, I can go online, I can say whatever I want to whomever I want with little to no consequences. And it really bothers me when some people come on social media, whether they're trolling or not, or they're having a bad day and they just want to express an opinion, or they just have, maybe negative views in policing in general, that, I don't think it's right to do what they're doing and to tolerate them. And if I have to call a spade, that's something I'm more than willing to do.
Do you ever get in trouble from your superiors for anything you tweet, or are you pretty good at staying in the lines?
No. It's actually funny. When we launched it, Evan Bray, who's now our chief, was our inspector, and he's the one who kind of came to me and said, this is what the superintendent wants. He goes, you're my pick, you're my guy, do you want to do it? And we kind of had some discussions just around the editorial piece. So
Right.
Am I going to craft a tweet and then have to send it up the chain and get like 14 rubber stamps and say, yeah, you can send that out? I said, or am I going to be able to kind of say what I want? I said, because, we already have media. If you want a traffic Twitter, I'm sure media can send out stuff with the help of traffic sergeants or whoever.
Right.
But if I'm going to kind of do this, I'm going to kind of, put myself into it and give it some personality and kind of give it some flair with the sense of humor and trying to bring a different kind of take to it and kind of make it just seem like, no, that's not just a police Twitter handle, that's actually a person, and this is kind of how they feel and this is what they talk about. So that was kind of a really important piece.
Take me back to that morning when you tweeted about the person who was charged with impaired driving after attempting to drive their children to school. You did a special post that day. It was a lot longer and really felt personal from you.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind when that particular offense happened?
I guess the biggest thing was, and I come to work every day and I put this uniform on and I'm, Constable Warnar, the traffic police officer, but obviously I have a life outside of work. I'm a father as well. I have two young kids. Everybody and the other 3 officers that were on that call were all parents. And I think as much as we all like to be tough and kind of do our thing, it all kind of struck a chord with us of like, it was twofold. It was like the anger of how could you as a parent put your kids in harm's way and make that selfish decision to get behind the wheel and drive while grossly intoxicated. And then there was that other part where it's just like, no, like this isn't right. And just again, trying to create awareness of how bad things have gotten in our city in terms of do we really need these type of examples to let people know that it's not okay to drink and drive? And I think that's really, really, really sad. And it really frustrated me because if you're just the one person and you're by yourself and you make that dumb decision, in theory, provided nothing else happens, you're only affecting yourself. Unfortunately, when it comes to drinking and driving, it's not that way.
What is the response when you tweet out some of these things? Something like the drunk driving thing, most people would agree, but it seems like when you tweet something about speeding, people might have less of a hate on for speeding as they do for drinking and driving.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny that way because a lot of people say that, we're as traffic officers, our primary function is traffic enforcement. That's what we're paid to do. So, I mean, a lot of people don't like what we do. They think it's, a cash grab or you guys are just doing this or you're doing that, or, a lot of people like to use the term entrapment even though it doesn't apply what we're doing in traffic. And you know what, if people are going to get a hate on for that, I think ultimately I don't think there's anything we can do to change their opinion of that. if we can, that's great. But I mean, if people are just going to be kind of set in their ways, or I don't like you just because you guys are, taking money out of people's pockets, well, again, the people that don't complain or the people that praise us aren't the ones that are getting pulled over. They're not the ones that are, potentially jeopardizing other people on the roadway. So ultimately it's the internet, and if people want to voice their opinion, they will. And I mean, you just kind of pick and choose your battles, and at the same time trying to make your point, but then realizing eventually it's just like bashing your head against the wall, and you just kind of move on.
Do you get some support though for what you do?
Yeah, I think in general a lot of it's really, really positive. There are some people, and I think some of the things too that I enjoy tweeting about does raise a lot of discussion. I had a poll a couple weeks ago. Last month was Distracted Driving Month, and we went out. I was in plain clothes, so just in jeans and a jacket, and we went out to Albert and Victoria Avenue, and we wrote 15 cell phone tickets in 2.5 hours. So, okay, well, that to me that was insanely high, and even when we were running the project, we were like, I can't believe how many numbers we're getting, like how many people we just keep getting, after, like person after person after person. So, just kind of stirring that debate and kind of getting that going, like what, not we as police have the power to change laws, but what would the general public like to see? Would you like to see us, doing more vehicle seizures? Would you like to see us, if you're caught with your cell phone, you have to forfeit your cell phone for a week? Just kind of getting that discussion going of, all these different ideas of how we can try to curb this, potentially fatal driving behavior.
Do you think the tougher cell phone laws have helped at all to get people off their phones, or does it feel that it's the same?
I do, to a point. I think at the end of the day, with a lot of things in traffic, speed limits have been around forever. Seatbelts have been in vehicles since, the 50s and 60s. People still choose not to wear seatbelts. People still choose to speed. I think at the end of the day, if you want to use your phone, you're going to use your phone. A lot of people just, think that, I might not get caught. So I think dispelling that misnomer from everybody in general that, those guys are just traffic. No, there's so much more that we do, and so much more that we want to be able to do, and really pushing that message and driving that home to everybody in our city, and not even just our city, but everybody that follows us. We have people from the States and people from across Canada that realizes that, we are a traffic safety unit. It's not just a ticket writing unit, or not just a, make everybody angry or make me late for work unit. Mm-hmm. That we're really trying to promote roadway safety for everybody that uses the road.